Color Guard, post the colors. Scout salute. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. Color Guard, return to post. You may be seated now.
Welcome, everybody. Paul Labovitz. I'm the superintendent here at Indiana Dunes National Park. It's so terrific to be here. What a great day for a great event. So I'm going to just kick it off with a couple of comments, and I want to say that it's great to look around and see park partners in the crowd. Dunes National Park Association, Friends of Indiana Dunes, the National Parks and Conservation Association, Save the Dunes, Shirley Hines Land Trust, NIPSCO, I don't know if anybody's here from ArcelorMittal, who am I forgetting? This whole place runs on partnerships, and it's great to see the Scouts here. It's just great to see a lot of park friends and a lot of park partners. We're here to celebrate the changing of a name that's 103 years in the making. When the National Park System was first talked about, the Indiana Dunes was one of the first places that was going to enter that system that represents what's great about America from a natural and cultural perspective. And here we are in 2019 on a beautiful spring day with the columbine and all the beautiful flowers out. What was the one I'm getting? The purple flower. Lupin. Lupin. If I was a Carner blue butterfly, I'd know what that flower was. What a perfect time of the year to be here in your national park. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce a good friend and a good partner, Spiros Batistatos, who is the board chair of the Dunes National Park Association. Spiros? Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. As introduced, my name is Spiro Batistatos. I'm the chairman of the board of the Dunes National Park Association, and many of you may not have heard of us yet, but I guarantee you're going to be hearing more and more about it. I have the distinct pleasure of serving with an amazingly dedicated group of people, and I'd like to introduce them to you now. They comprise the board of directors of the DNPA. If you're within earshot, want to raise your hand real quick, hold your applause. Vice Chairman Mike Szymanski, Secretary Adam Peterson, Treasurer Robin Carlasio, Teresa Badovich, Don Babcock, Dave Gernowitz, John Lewicki, and our intern Carolyn Rissick. Round of applause for this group. The Dunes National Park Association is the official 501c3 recognized by the Department of Interior. We're charged with advocating, marketing, and promoting this magnificent facility we now know as the Indiana Dunes National Park. We find private sector donations and partnerships in order to do important work like restoring the homes along the lakefront in Beverly Shores, and we're doing some great work on the Meyer House and the Solomon Enclave, and you're going to be hearing a great deal about that in the weeks and months to come. It is my job to now introduce to you a couple of other people that have joined us. I'm not going to go down the entire list. I know Mayor John Cannon from Portage is here. Tony Ferraro from U.S. Senator Braun's office is with us. There he is. Thank you, Tony. Welcome. And now, without any further ado, my friend, Mayor Karen Freeman Wilson, has been mayor of her hometown, Gary, Indiana, since 2012. Prior to her role as mayor, she served as the Indiana Attorney General, and since 2012, she's helped with the development of vital areas in the city, including the park in which we stand today. Put your hands together, please, for Mayor Karen Freeman Wilson.
Good morning. And first and foremost, let me welcome you on behalf of the city and citizens of Gary to Gary, Indiana. We are so excited to have this partnership. One of my favorite places is the Dunes Learning Center. So when Congressman Visclosky talked about converting this from a lakeshore to a national park, of course, we were on board because it is such an asset in our city. We are excited for where the National Lakeshore Park or National Park will take us. We're excited because it gives us yet another opportunity to showcase something good in Gary, Indiana. And so congratulations, not just to Congressman Visclosky, but to Senator Young and Senator Braun, and even before then, Senator Donnelly. Congratulations to all of us who understand what not just a beautiful setting, but a wonderful treasure the National Park is. And congratulations to all of us as we enjoy and explore one of the most native and one of the most unique ecological areas in all of the United States. Thank you so much.
This is going to be the easiest introduction I'm going to make all day today. And with that, it is my great pleasure to introduce to you my friend and the 51st governor of the great state of Indiana, Governor Eric Holcomb.
I mentioned to him before he walked back up here, I said, scrap the bio, just introduce me as your friend. That'd be sufficient for what we're here. Talk about sensory overload. This is just beautiful. Just the chirping of the birds and the green and all the color around, and then to see the scouts in dress uniform. It's just wonderful to be with you all. It's truly a both historic and a proud day for not just the region, but for our entire state. Folks are now going to learn more and more and more about this quadrant, and I'm just so glad to celebrate with you all, everyone that had a hand in today, and also to acknowledge the hard work That's a good thing. Sound of commerce. But also just to acknowledge all the hard work that went into this for years and years and years and years. Obviously, my good friend, Mayor Karen Freeman Wilson, and then the ever effective and since day one, right out of the gate, and every day since, Senator Todd Young, hitting the ground. Thank you, Senator. Not surprised, you are a Marine, so that's what Marines do. And then also, I did want to highlight, boy, they're picking up some steam, aren't they? I did want to highlight Congressman Visclosky and his really, you know, in just a few words, you could describe him as a relentless visionary, and his skill and his acumen in the halls of Congress continue to make a historic, profound, transformational, positive impact on, again, not just this region, but for the entire state as well. I think about today, and on the way up here, it is altogether fitting, this long labor of love, that we arrived at this very moment in our state's history. Obviously, we have had a real effect on the national park system, our system here in the state of Indiana, and it's because of this, not just really because of the need to preserve and conserve this beautiful piece of property for today and for generations to come, but also, again, our role in how the national park system evolved. When you think about all the leaders of the past, Benjamin Harrison and his role, Richard
Richard Lieber, obviously kind of the father of the state parks here in the state of Indiana, who did such a great deal for conservation, really blazing the trail, if you will, really served as that model. And so it's particularly a special day. It's part of our Hoosier DNA, and it was from the beginning, not just in our agrarian deep roots, but also how we appreciate the Hoosier landscape and the diversity of it all. This is, as you all know, I don't need to remind or tell you, but this is Indiana's most visited tourism site. And with this new national park designation, number 61, it'll have even a higher profile. And I just look so forward to hearing from Hoosiers and our guests that come into our state about those new family memories that are going to be made right here where we stand and sit today. And I see that the DNR is here. I know that Cam Clark, at least I was told there was a Cam Clark sighting, the director of the DNR. There he is in the back, and Dan Bortner standing next to him. When you connect with this property and to the national park, you are seeing the great work that your employees are doing on your behalf. And this connection between the state park and then the national park is really kind of a one-of-a-kind, cool experience for, again, our guests that visit our state. Obviously, this is part of a grand gateway into Indiana. Folks are going to be visiting the rest of the region when they stop here and take this all in. They're going to be visiting Fair Oaks Farms, and they're going to be visiting, I hope, Albanese Candy. They're going to be visiting Crown Point. They're going to make their way all the way over to Elkhart, hopefully in a RV that was made in Elkhart, and visit Amish country over there. But this is, like I said, this is a gateway. And so this is a box that folks from all around the world are going to check, and then they'll launch from this very patch of land. And I understand that Misty in our tourism department is here somewhere as well, and she just got a very, very powerful card to play in our state hand. I'll just close by saying that Wallace Stegner said he called our parks, national parks, America's best idea. And that was a quote that was made famous in one of Ken Burns' documentaries. And I think he was right. Today's quite a reminder of that, and it's probably about time after today that Ken Burns updates that documentary. We got a new one joining the fold because of the help of, again, Senator Todd Young and Congressman Visclosky, all the congressional delegation. This is taking advantage of when the stars align, and something so good can come from that. And so I just want to put my hands together. Indeed, America just got better with the Dunes National Park. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Governor. We're going to call an audible and have we had an unexpected guest join us today, and we're going to break from the agenda you have in order to have comments by Claire Wooden. She's the Deputy Regional Director of the National Park Service out of Omaha. So with that, Claire, would you join us, please, and share it with us?
Hello, and thank you all for being here. Man, what a time in history we have. We have a part of this, and this is absolutely wonderful. From the regional director, the acting regional director, Patricia Trapp, and myself, the National Park Service, our directors, we thank you all for doing what we, the Park Service, were not able to do. But it's good to have partners like yourselves to help us to obtain these types of goals. Thank you to all the partners, Indiana, DNR, everyone that's here, our congressional delegation. Thank you all so much for what you're doing. It is indeed an honor to be here and to represent the National Park Service and to just represent you, who are the folks that make parks what they are. Our visitors, America's greatest ideas with national parks, and you make them get greater and greater every day. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all that you do. And if we can ever do anything more for you, please let us know. Thank you so much.
On the heels of a very enjoyable Memorial Day weekend, I'd ask that if any of you out here have a husband, wife, son, daughter, grandchild, as a first responder or active military or former military? Raise your hands, please. Thank you for your service, and thank you for the sacrifice your families made for this country. We very much appreciate it. And it seems fitting to take that acknowledgement and bring up a man who's brought his Marine talent to the U.S. Senate and has hit the ground running. Senator Todd Young is a fifth-generation Hoosier, previously served in the Marines for a decade and was honorably discharged in 2000. In 2003, he returned to Indiana as a management consultant and has served in the House before becoming a senator. Ladies and gentlemen, our United States Senator, Todd Young.
Thank you. Thank you. What a great occasion to be with you. Isn't it fantastic to be here on this day at Indiana's first national park? Now, of course, America has come to understand what we long have understood. With this designation, it becomes clear that this treasure is not just Indiana's treasure or this region's treasure. This is a national treasure, and we believe this designation will increase the number of visitors and tourists to this area in coming years, benefiting Northwest Indiana's economy, and that is something to celebrate. Now, a number of people have come together to make this happen, too many to mention, really. I want to thank the local community activists who've been vocal for a number of years. I, of course, want to thank the mayor of Gary, Mayor Freeman Wilson, for her leadership in this effort. I want to thank the governor, and as much as anyone else, I, of course, want to thank Congressman Visclosky for his tireless leadership to get this done. Thank you so much. Please give him a round of applause. Yeah. Now, much has been said, rightly, and much will be said about why this was designated a national park, why this is taken its rightful place among the constellation of 61 national parks across the country. But I instead would like to focus a bit on the regional economy, which this will benefit. One of my first visits during my service as your United States Senator was to northwestern Indiana, and I spent half of a day traveling around Gary with your mayor in a 15-passenger van. Remember that, Mayor? And I learned quite a bit about Gary and the surrounding area, and I learned about the importance of this asset. I learned more broadly about the opportunity that we have here in the region with continued investment and focus and leadership. The opportunity to grow more jobs, the opportunity to ensure that more people receive quality educations, the opportunity to make sure that all of our residents have an opportunity to meaningfully participate in this growing economy. This addition, this asset, this unique designation will help in that overall effort that all of your leaders share to make sure that these young people enjoy a little better future than we ourselves had. And that's my mission. I know that's everyone's mission up here. You know, the region really is a jewel in Indiana's overall crown. It's good to finally have the rightful recognition of that with this designation as Indiana's first national park. Thank you for allowing me to participate in this ceremony here today. God bless you all.
As the train comes by again, it's a great time to remember that this is truly an urban park. And our national park is nestled in a setting unlike any other in the United States. And this is a great way to remember that. And I'll kill a little more time so that we can hear every word the Congressman wants to say. It is my great pleasure to introduce a man who has served in the United States House of Representatives for Indiana's first congressional district since 1985. He is the unwavering advocate for investing in Northwest Indiana's infrastructure and opening access to our lakeshore. He's instrumental in seeing improvements to our water-related infrastructure and Lake Michigan shoreline through the Marquette Plan, and most recently, the bill that we're here to celebrate today, redesignating the Indiana Dunes National Lakeshore to the Indiana Dunes National Park. It is truly a great pleasure to introduce to you a man who is a friend and a leader, Congressman Peter J. Visclosky.
Thank you very much. And first, I want to thank everyone who has brought us together, whether it's the Visitors and Convention Bureau, whether it is the National Park Service, anyone else who has been connected with today's event. But I find it interesting, and I am very appreciative of the fact that this ceremony is being held in my hometown of Gary, Indiana, because the park extends through 3 counties, and any location in 3 counties could have been chosen. But we are standing here in Gary, Indiana, in the mayor's hometown, and I appreciate that very much. I appreciate the compliments that have been handed out. But as everyone knows, Congress is bicameral, and you do need the cooperation of your colleagues on both sides of the Capitol building, as well as both sides of the political aisle. And I do want to thank very much Senator Young for taking the lead in the United States Senate, along in the last Congress with Senator Donnelly, and in this Congress, Senator Braun, to make sure that this legislation could be signed into law. I would be remiss in not thanking every one of my House colleagues in the state of Indiana, because we had the unanimous support of everyone in the Indiana delegation for the passage of this legislation. I would point out, I simply think this is a step in a process. This park, after huge, difficult controversies and fights, were created in 1966. It had about 8,300 acres in it at that time. Subsequently, there have been 4 additional bills to expand this lakeshore, each encompassing huge, difficult disagreements, intense moments. There's now about 15,000 acres in the dunes, and looking back upon each of those struggles, it was worth every minute of it. And I do think that we have to recognize those, and Senator Young recognized them, who fought that fight. I don't want to go down that list because there are so many. But I think I would use Charlotte Reed, Herb is here today, as an example of someone who gave her life to leave the world a better place, and today we're standing here in Indiana's first national park. It is, as has been mentioned, going to be, I believe, an economic driver, whether it be for the city of Gary, Northwest Indiana, or the state of Indiana. But it also is important as far as the preservation of these properties for particularly these scouts and their generation. And so I would simply close by noting that this is a continuum, and what we ought to be focused on is tomorrow, because there's still a lot of work to do. I would point out that in 1976, in one of the expansion bills, there's about 83 acres in the authorized boundary of the park just west of us. And it still has not been placed in the dunes. There is reclamation that has to be done by the corporate owner. This started in 1976. So I would simply say all of us, including the company involved, ought to roll up our sleeves and get this job done after almost half a century, and make sure the entire park is preserved and acquired. Thank you very much.
Now I would ask our guests to step over this way. We're going to unveil our new park sign. So if we could gather on each side. Down a little bit there, Senator. Okay. Scoot on down a little bit there, Senator. Okay. That's all we got room there. Well, come on, jump in here. Wait, well, get in there. We're going to have everybody in here. Oh, I got pointy things back there. Hold on.
There you
You guys are vital. Hold on. Let's sign up. Ready? Yeah, that's ready, man, for our government. There's one going table. We're going to do pardon me. Ready? Go over this way. Yep. 1, 2, 3. I got your meeting. Thank you, Paul. Now, I've just been advised the reason for the scissors are we're going to cut a ribbon on the trail. That all makes sense now. Would have been helpful for me to put in my notes, as you can see. So we have our new signs. Oh, there's our ribbon. Who's got the scissors? Oh, yes, Linda has the scissors. Linda. Go ahead, just jump in. We're going to move the ribbon this way because they can't. Yeah, can we bring the ribbon and face the crowd this way, kind of? Good idea, Mike. Big bucks. First National. How's it going? Jump in right here while you're there. Here you go, buddy. Here, grab the tool. Couple of members of Congress. Careful there, careful.
It's a tough job. It's a tough job. Come on. Nothing's easy to get this far.
Well, we have now officially cut the ribbon, and we've renamed, in case we didn't mention this, the Paul H. Douglas Trail, formerly the Miller Woods Trail, for the United States Senator from Illinois who helped create this National Lakeshore in 1966. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being here today. Our honored guests, we're going to ask the Boy Scouts to remove the colors, so if you'd like to return to your seats over here.
Going somewhere.
Would have been. And now, ladies and gentlemen, if I could ask for silence while we retire the colors. Gentlemen and ladies, this way.
Color guard advance. Color guard retrieve the color, scout salute. Color guard return to post. Two.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming out this morning. There are refreshments in the building. And one more time, great round of applause for everyone who made this possible today. Have a great day. I'll see you at lunch. Yeah, that'll be great. We're all going to be hanging out together all day.